question that has come in that I'd like to see if either you, Bryan, or Jacob can cover this. Basically, what would be the one area you would stress to a client which aids in the RWI process the most? Like, what would you say is the most relevant in facilitating a smoother RWI process, gaining that broader coverage into the insurance policy itself? Do either of you have thoughts on
that? Sure.
Bryan,
go ahead,
Jacob.
Go first. Yep.
I can take a quick stab at it. For myself, I think it's really it's twofold. I think that one should really look to take a leap of faith in their advisors on a transaction. Again, I noted earlier, obviously M&A Counsel being one of them, Bryan being one who's joined us on the phone here. As well as the insurance broker, and I say that not only in relation to the rep and warranty process, but really I think that your advisors will help all that much in facilitating potentially a cleaner deal. If the target company has red flags, they have red flags, but you want to really ensure that you're surrounding yourself with advisors who are able to appropriately identify those red flags. So that's kind of point number one, and then point number two is really in the due diligence, itself. That one particular slide. Forgive me, I don't remember which page it's on at this point, but whichever slide that Bryan and I kind of touched on as being the shining beacon of where we would put our emphasis and where we would stress aids the most is really in relation to due diligence and really going through the appropriate steps to complete as much. I think that again that not only facilitates potentially a cleaner transaction, but certainly a cleaner rep and warranty policy.
And I agree with both those points, and I think just sort of along the same lines. I think when you serve as the underwriting counsel on a deal, you're going through on the call, the very lengthy call, and you're ticking through all these very highly specific areas. Does the IP have invention assignment agreements, and is there a super fund site? You're going through like what seemed like a lot of specifics at the time, but I can tell you in the back of their mind, the underwriting counsel is really taking a much bigger picture look at all this and really trying to answer a question of, did this buy-side law firm and did this buyer, did they really perform due diligence here? And beyond just all these very highly specific items, did they really do their job? Did they really do what we need them to do to be able to underwrite this policy? And there's almost the sixth sense you get when you've been on enough of these calls to be able to make that judgment. And there can sometimes be things, just the sort of general organization. If the buyer or the buy side firm is, seems extremely disorganized, if they seem, just like they just didn't really get it together for this, those things matter, I think, at the end of the day, in terms of our confidence and being able to tell our insurer clients, like, yes, you should take a very substantial risk, frankly, in underwriting this policy. And I think that, when you're on a call and it really just seems like, they might not have every single answer down 100% right. I don't think that actually ever happens, but, it just really seems like they're on the ball. They understand how this process works. They've gotten all the questions together. They're organized. The call is flowing the way it should go. Those things certainly matter. And I think those are all things that are within the buyer's purview to control on the deals. And I think it really does lead to a much smoother process. And it ultimately leads to the fewer exclusions, and it leads us on the insurer and on the underwriting counsel side to say, like, yeah, they did it. Like, they seemed like they know what they were doing here, and it really seemed like they got it, and they did a very good job. And at the end of the day, on close exclusions, that certainly does matter. So I think to what Jacob was saying, there really are certain law firms and other advisors who are very experienced in this and know how this works, and brokers who know how this works. And I think engaging them and leaning on them in this process can really make the whole process go much more make it just go much more smoothly for everybody.